Welcome. My name's Arna, and thank you for coming. Today I am going to show you how to connect Active Club Manager and QuickBooks Accounting. So let's get started. So let's first start with QuickBooks. QuickBooks, the central point of QuickBooks is the chart of accounts. It's your bank accounts, accounts receivable, accounts payable, income, and expenses, etc. This is what you're seeing here on the right-hand side. QuickBooks chart of accounts. And then to sell something, you need a customer. So what we recommend, rather than having a one-for-one match with all the customer records in Active Club Manager, we can use groups. So we just have 4 customer groups: sales from cart, club, POS, and other. That simplifies both the use of this interface and obviously simplifies the amount of data that you have in QuickBooks itself. Now, QuickBooks starts off with it's a balance sheet and a profit and loss. So what we've started here is an accounting system that has $10,000 in the bank, and that's it. Nice and clean. Then our item list. To get the interface with Active Club going, we need to develop or need to create some other charge items. There's a placeholder for putting shipping and handling that's not taxable, shipping and handling that is taxable, tips if you use that on the POS, and that's optional, and an unearned revenue account. I will discuss that more later on. But an unearned revenue account is just a other charge linked to an account that I've also called unearned revenue over here in our chart of accounts. It's right there, one I'm selected on. The shipping and handling one it's an other charge. Give it a meaningful name, description. It's not taxable because this one is the non-taxable one, and link it to your shipping and handling account that you want to use in your chart of accounts. We picked that one there. And then the same for the taxable, except that here we put the tax code to on. The tips is the same thing. Now, taxes. What we recommend is to bypass the QuickBooks taxation system. It complicates matters significantly, and what we're going to be showing here is not using that, and therefore we create a other charge item for each one of the states that we want to ship to. And we have this 2-letter convention, so you have to give it the 2 letters of the state that it is, non-taxable, and then collect the account where you want to put the money. And we have made an other income account and one for each state, so it's easy to separate out how much is payable per state that you have collected. Okay? And then we're ready to start. Back to what QuickBooks thinks Active Club is. It doesn't exist. So to bring up this window, I went to the Edit, do it again, Edit, Preferences, picked Integrated Applications, Company Preferences, Nothing's listed. The QuickBooks is not recognizing Active Club as an integrated application. So that's what we want to change. Go back to Active Club, go to Network, Setup, Accounting Interface Setup. First of all, you have to give it the file name, the file location and name of your QuickBooks file. You use that using the Browse button. Just pick your file. Version would be 10.0. Unless you're using Enterprise, it would be 11.0. Then we're going to push Test Connection. That'll take us back to QuickBooks. We'll say, here's Active Club wanting to interface with us. What do you want me to do? I'm going to say yes, always. In some cases, it'll ask you what account to use for this interface, and you would always pick the administrator account. So the connection is successful. We are now talking between these two programs are talking to each other. And going back here to QuickBooks, go to Edit, Preferences, Integrated Applications, Company Preferences, and there's Active Club. Okay, so we can proceed with the next step. Customer interface. As I said, we recommend for simplicity to just use the 4 accounts which we had already created in QuickBooks, Active Club, Hyphen Club, POS, etc. You'll get those IDs. That's done. Now the next tab, here we need a chart of accounts to be brought in from QuickBooks. So let's go and get the chart of accounts before we can proceed any further. Network, Setup, Account, Search. Search for everything. So our account is empty, and I have set my view to outline. That so it simulates what it looks like in QuickBooks. I'm going to go up to the Actions menu, pick Import from Accounting. Here you can specify which accounts to bring in, but we're just going to bring in everything, which we do recommend, so you just get the whole chart of accounts in and be done with it. You can bring it in multiple times as that changes over the years. So you can see the same data here that we have in the QuickBooks chart of accounts. Now we can continue with the setup. Let's go back to Network, Setup, Accounting Interface Setup. So first thing to do is pick the bank account. I will pick this bank account. I'll pick the accounts receivable account. Do we need an accounts receivable? It's required. The only one that's optional here is the tip. These will be empty. I need to go fill them up from data that's in QuickBooks. Push that button, and it'll do that. Now I have some data in here. This is the non-taxable, taxable shipping and handling. Notice these IDs again, just like we saw before on the customers. And I use tips, so I'm going to bring in tips. Unearned revenue, I want to turn that on and pick that account as well. So now that's filled in, all that's filled in, all that's filled in, all that's filled in. Notice the IDs and over here. So what's left to do is sales rep. In QuickBooks, the sales reps are listed here, sales rep. So that's lists, customer, vendor, profile list, sales rep. There they are. Pick one of those. This follows the sales into QuickBooks, so you could put anything meaningful. Classification, we support that the sales are classified when they go into QuickBooks, and you can either classify using the ship state rules or the subtype rules. Subtype is the most commonly used, which means the sales would be separated, or the class would be separated by whether it's POS, cart, club, etc. Now, because we want to simplify the inventory part of what we do with QuickBooks, we want to use, like we use customer groups, we want to use inventory groups. And in order for QuickBooks to have to calculate the cost of sales correctly, we'll need to do journal entries because of these groups. We'll check that little check mark. So that's recommended setting. So is the unearned revenue a recommended setting. And we'll come back to that later. So now we are done with our interface setup. We are done with accounts. Now we have to do inventory and sales tax. Let's start with sales tax. Sales tax, again, this column here is empty because we haven't set up the interface to QuickBooks. So let's do that. Actions, import sales tax structure from QuickBooks Accounting. And watch it whirl and whiz. Dum-da-dum-da-dum-da-dum. Good going. Next, here we have them. So these again are IDs that are in QuickBooks. So we tie these states together. Now we have not done the tasting rooms. I'm going to skip over that right now. Come back to that at another point. But sales tax for now is done. Next is inventory. My inventory consists of books, clothing, wine, etc. And what I want to do is I want to associate all the red wines and the white wines. We'll have other groups to do, but those are the primary ones. With inventory groups in QuickBooks. So how can we do that? So let's go over to QuickBooks. And I have made two inventory parts, red wine group and white wine group. And these will be associated with their appropriate income account, asset account, and cost of goods account. So this allows all the sales of red wine to go into be associated with these three accounts. And you could have different accounts for white wine and any other groups you want to set up. But the idea here is that if you've got a couple of hundred products in Active Club, you have 2 or 10 in QuickBooks. Because all you really need to worry about is the accounts, not the individual items. QuickBooks is not doing any inventory management for you. That's all happening in Active Club. So let's go and get one of these groups. I need to go get the red wine group. Start off with red wine. I don't know the exact spelling, so I'm going to put a little wildcard at the end. And off it goes. See if we can find that, what we just brought in. Sure it's here. I do not see it. There it is. 428. That's the one I just brought in. Sorry about the fumble fingers there. Let's go back and search for just inventory items. That's why it disappears, because it's not an inventory item. And I want to search actually just for the reds. So inventory of type red. And I'm going to change the view to QuickBooks interface. And again, you can see that all the data here is missing. So what we want to do is we want to use the same data that was in this group. So we're just going to select everything, go up to Actions, Update Inventory Accounting Data, Red Wine Group. And there we have it. So these are the 3 accounts and the ID of that. Hit OK. Update. And voila. Now all the red wines have been associated with that one group in QuickBooks. If you wanted to do these individually, of course, you can do that. You can have one inventory item for one inventory item in QuickBooks, but this will make life significantly more simple. And here you can see the data. You've got the income account, cost of goods account, the asset account, and the external ID. So now we've done red inventory. We haven't done any white. But we're going to skip over that for now and show the next step, which is how we interface sales. Let's bring up let's make a sale. I'll sell something red. And that, take it out of the Virginia Beach checkout. And to simplify things, I'm going to just pay for it using external payment. And we now have a transaction that is paid. It is a sales order at this point because it's fully paid, but it's not shipped. So let's transfer it across. See what happens. Now you'll notice that the accounting switch up here turned to unearned QuickBooks. Let's go over to QuickBooks and have a look at our P&L and our balance sheet. So we have nothing on on the P&L because we have only unearned revenue of $54.68. You get my highlighter on here. See here? That's a liability because I haven't shipped that yet. But in the bank account, I have so much, of which $54.68 is unearned. There is no cost of goods assigned yet because, again, it has not shipped. So let's go back to Active Club, and we're going to now ship it. I'll do that the simple way by just setting the switch here. And of course this would be shipped, not shipped, or picked up, not picked up and picked up. It doesn't matter whether it's a shipping item or a pickup item. Save that. So now it actually has been shipped. We'll transfer it to accounting again. And now it changed that it's a sales receipt here. See that little mark around it? It's now a sales receipt. Let's go back to the balance sheet. So now you'll see that the inventory asset's been reduced by $720, which is the cost of goods. Let me get my highlighter again. So on the P&L, the cost of goods shows up, which is the cost of that one inventory item, which is associated with that asset. And no longer it is a liability, and it's moved out of unearned revenue and moved into being an actual income. And that income came into red wine. And of course we have our shipping cost, and here we have our tax. So that shows you the whole process of setting up a QuickBooks integration all the way down to your balance sheet and your P&L. I'd like to thank you for coming, and I will close the meeting. I look forward to seeing you again.